So this weekend's pretty much my one shot at it, at least for the near future. So give me a couple good days
Come
so
on.
I can go out there and
Come on, Steve.
have some fun on the water. All right, so we will get you that weekend forecast here in just about 40 minutes from now, a little less than 40 minutes from now, 2:45. Steve Templeton will join us in the 3 o'clock hour. About an hour from now, we will wrap up the show as we always do. Wrap up the week, I should say, as we always do, with a little Friday fun time. So that's always a good time. And before that, we will catch you up on everything that's happening in this crazy, crazy world, both nationally and locally. In about 10 minutes, we are going to have State Representative Justin Sparks back on the show with us. We've been talking to Justin a lot recently because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on, obviously, as we are in the last several weeks of the legislative session in the state of Missouri, in Jeff City, and some more of those bills have been making headlines over the last 24 hours, particularly some of the transgender medical care bills and issues that have been discussed here in the state of Missouri are really coming to the point of these bills either getting across the finish line and having a final vote to passage or not. So we'll talk to Justin about those and everything else happening with the legislative session, as it is about to be the rubber meets the road time there. And if all of the activity that we have seen up to this point, all of the discussion, all of the debate, and so many of these issues, whether it be those transgender issues, safety issues, policing issues, education issues, school choice, sports betting, all of these things that have been hotly debated over the last few weeks, is it all going to pay off? Is there going to be some production, or is there going to be, as there has been in years past, some frustration and stalling at the end of the year? So we will get the latest from Justin Sparks on all of those things in just a few moments. What to start with? Can we start with something silly?
Yes. Yes.
Did you hear Joe Biden's most recent gaffe
Oh, yeah.
about licking?
Can we just have a week where there's nothing?
Between
licking?
the Dalai Lama
Yeah,
and
tongues.
his tongue, and
Come
now
on,
Joe
man.
Biden. Okay.
Old
All right.
men.
All right. I'm gonna give. So okay. So I want to see exactly what you think there, because you just by saying old men, you mean like because he's losing it, or because he's using an old phrase? Because here's the thing: Joe Biden is getting a bunch of is being memed again, and getting attacked on social media because he was in Ireland and he said, "Let's go lick the world," and. Yes, he said, "Let's go lick the world." At the end of his statements there at an event that he was at, he says, "So thank you all, God bless you all, and let's go." And then he stumbles, stutters.
He couldn't just let it
Let's
be.
go lick the world. Now, okay. Is that what he meant to say? Because I don't know if that's why when you just said old man, because there is an old-fashioned phrase of like licking somebody in a fight. Oh, he licked him good.
Yeah.
Like lick the world could be not lick like you lick a lollipop, but it could be like let's go beat him. Let's go beat him. Let's
Beat him like a drum.
Yeah.
Like he always says.
So if he's using it in that context, then it makes sense. The way he stumbled through it and the way it came out did not make it sound like it was.
I don't think he meant let's go beat him like a drum. I don't think he meant that. I think he stumbled and he forgot himself in true Joe Biden fashion. When I say these old men, and I don't mean to be that way to any of the listeners, and I'm sorry.
No, I meant by just an old-fashioned statement, an old-fashioned
I'm just sick of hearing old men say weird things like this. It's not even old references. I'm sick of old men saying suck
Saying
my
weird
tongue
stuff.
and let's go lick the world. I'm over it. And can we please have a week where it isn't this?
I'm so tired of old men saying weird stuff. Well, this is not the world for you. If you are tired of old men saying weird stuff, because there's a lot of old men.
What do you think he meant? Do you think he meant like suck it to him, boys, or do you think he meant like
If he would have if he would have just said it, if he would have said it with confidence and he was rolling along and you could tell that he was in control of what he was saying and he said, "Let's get out there and lick the world." Like
would you take
I would
pause?
have laughed
Mhm.
and I would have thought it was ridiculous, but I would have thought that is exactly what I meant to say. He's using in the context of, that boy really licked that kid, like the two got into a fight and
Which is
Joey really licked Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in that way. Again, in the defeated, like fought and defeated, beat him, context. So, but however, what makes me think that it wasn't that is because Joe Biden, we've all seen it. He goes into these moments where you see that he just maybe doesn't know what's going on anymore.
It's rogue
That
Joe Biden.
That he's lost his train of thought, and
Yep.
he just starts sort of either mumbling or rambling or saying, and that's kind of what happened at the end of this speech. It looked like he lost his train of thought. So then just words started coming out, and he said, "Lick the world." It wasn't a confident, like, let's get out there and lick the world.
No, it wasn't.
was.
It was like,
Yeah, it was, let's go lick the world.
And this also
And then there
happens.
was, and then
just like,
and then he got a standing ovation.
oh, that's even worse. Yay, Joe!
Yeah!
He finished the
Let's
speech.
go!
That Joe is always on the cut. I should say the president. He is always nearly done, and it could have been okay.
Yeah.
He's always on the cusp of being like, he did it. There was the period. It's the end, and then it's go lick the world, and you're like, you almost
Or it's
did it.
try to shake hands with the invisible man.
Yes, you were just there, Joe. You could have done it and walked away clean. But for some reason, and it could be the age or just Joe Biden, he can't just escape clean.
Can you imagine this man being president for 6 more years?
No.
Listen to me. Listen
No.
to me. You cannot even imagine your baby. You cannot picture your baby right now as a kid with a backpack on, going to school, saying, "Bye, Mom."
I can't even picture her walking.
Like, picture Maeve. Like, getting herself dressed, putting her backpack on, and saying, "Bye, Mom," and walking to the bus. That's how old she'll be.
When Joe Biden.
If Joe Biden wins this next election, she'll be almost 7 years old. She'll be in kindergarten. She'll be maybe first grade.
Nuts.
First grade. Like,
No.
fully functioning 6-year-old person going to school.
With Joe Biden as the president.
And Joe Biden is still the president. That's
Oh my God.
how long 6 more years is.
That is so
That's how long.
insane.
If he wins one more election, that's how long he will be president. Can you
Wow.
even imagine that?
No, because he can't finish a sentence. Oh my God, look how beautiful she is. I'm sorry. Holy cow. Kristi Noem. What's her name? Governor of South Dakota,
yes.
North Dakota. Why can't I think of anything? I'm pulling a Joe Biden. I'm making fun of someone that I am.
I didn't even know who that was.
Wow, she is so beautiful. I just think that when I think of our future, when I think of our future and you put it in the context of Maeve going off into first grade,
Yeah.
that puts a pit in my stomach
he
that my
wins-
daughter would even have to
If he wins,
have a President Joe Biden.
if he wins the next election, he'll be president 6 years from now.
What is that going to look like?
How is it? We act like we don't know how he's going to get through the rest of the day.
And this is also something that I'm thinking about. Like, it really, the picture too of people helping Biden, escorting him from one place to another. I mean, Jill's doing that for him right now. Who the heck, if he keeps going, there's only going to be more people escorting Joe from here to there.
I really can't picture
on and
it.
off planes.
Honestly, I cannot picture it.
No, you're right.
I cannot picture what it would look like to be 2027, 2028, and Joe Biden is still president.
No.
And we're still doing this. We're still doing exactly what we're doing right now. Talking about I just don't see how he can I really don't see how he can make it.
But you said this 2 days ago. Shame on us. If that is the case and Joe Biden is the president, then we and people vote for him. Shame on us. We get what we deserve, and that puts a horrible pit in my stomach thinking about it.
Right.
But I mean, that is I can't fathom the American public
if this country,
being that way.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the Republican primary and all of these Republicans of, Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump, obviously at the very top of that list. But people like Nikki Haley and Tim Scott and Mike Pence and Mike Pompeo and all these other folks that are either running or talking about running in 2024, that's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big news story. It's going to be a lot to cover. There's going to be a lot of importance with that. And all of this talk about, who's the right person for the job and who's the right person that can, beat the Democrats and take the country in the right direction and all of that. Yes, it is all very important. However, no matter what, no matter who wins that presidential nominee, that the GOP nomination, if we reelect in this country Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to be president and vice president for 4 more years in 2024, no matter who it is on the other side of the ticket, we get what we deserve.
Yep.
Because
couldn't agree more.
It's not like it's hidden. We all know, you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get. It's not going to get any better, and it's not going to change in any way. You know what they think. You know how they think. You know what's important to them. You know the direction they want to go. You know the direction they're taking the country. If you vote for that again, then if we put them in office again, then we are not allowed to complain about any of it.
That and I will shift blame wholeheartedly on the demise of what's going on to those people. I'm not usually someone that's like, Joe Biden's your president, and I didn't like when people are like, Donald Trump's your president. I never liked those situations. But if people vote for Biden again and he becomes our president, I will surely start saying, that was your choice. This is your president. I know I'm living in the United States, but you messed it up. Not me. Mm-hmm. You did. Mm-hmm. And that is something I will hold to if that happens.
Yep. All right, we have got a lot to talk about as we go through the afternoon here. In just a moment, we're going to get Justin Sparks on the phone, Missouri State Representative, and with us going into the final few weeks of the Missouri legislative session in 2023, there's a whole lot to talk about as far as the transgender medical bill issues, sports betting, school choice, so many important things that face our area and the people in the state of Missouri. We are going to discuss with Justin Sparks, state representative, here in just a moment on Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Colombo and Katie. Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Listen anytime.
It happens
anywhere. Everywhere.
Every day continues to bring more news
with the News Talk STL app. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
talking about this awesome weather and, we can get back outside. Hopefully you can get outside and have some fun this weekend. And the one of the few negatives that comes along with this time of year is that with the great temperatures, here come the bugs, and they are back in your life. And that is exactly why at our house all year round, not just this time of year, but all year round, we have All Solutions Pest Control come out to our home. Now, what has been awesome here recently is because where we live in St. Charles County, there is I don't know what it is. I'm not, I'm still new to that area, North County kid, the first 45 years of my life. We had mosquitoes in North County, but nothing like we have in my house now, and it has been a problem. And thank goodness for All Solutions Pest Control and their mosquito treatment. On top of everything else that they do, they can keep every pest away from your home and out of your house and all of those things. But man, we just started this year's. I think we've had our first treatment and our second one's this coming week. Spray for the mosquitoes this spring, and it makes all the difference in the world. Mosquitoes, ants, spiders, termites, mice, wasps, any of those pests that could be bothering you, a problem at your home now, or more importantly, you just want to prevent any of that stuff from happening. All Solutions Pest Control is the company to call, and right now, you can take advantage of their $67 introductory special. This is an absolutely incredible way to have All Solutions come out to your house, have them do all their services, see what you think, make sure it's right for you, and then move forward. And it only costs you $67 with this introductory special that they're offering right now. It is absolutely awesome. We trust All Solutions Pest Control to protect our home. I think you can do the same, and you can take advantage of that $67 special and learn more and book your first appointment all at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
The Republican Party, City of St. Louis, stands in solidarity with Attorney General Andrew Bailey in his decision to lead the process to remove Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner from office. As we and Republican candidates for alderman have highlighted, she has pandered to perpetrators over providing justice for victims. Her incompetence has devastated our police force morale. Kim Gardner must go. The future of our city is at stake. Read our full statement at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Home is where the heart is, but it's also where the money is too. If you want to make the most of your home, whether you're buying, selling, or staying put, tune into HomeWise, the financial talk show that gives you the real deal on home ownership. HomeWise tells you the secrets that banks, realtors, and contractors don't want you to know, and shows you how to save thousands of dollars on your mortgage, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. HomeWise, how to get the most out of every dollar you put into your home. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
It almost seems common sense, but, alas, common sense isn't so common these days.
News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Lots going on in this crazy world nationally and, of course, here locally. With just a few weeks to go in the Missouri legislative session, Jeff City is chaotic these days as lawmakers try to finish off the year and get some results, show some results to the people of our area and the state of Missouri. And one of those lawmakers is our friend Justin Sparks, Missouri State Representative, and he's back on the line with us this afternoon. Justin, as I mentioned in that first segment, we've been talking to you a lot lately because there's a lot to talk about. So we, once again, appreciate your time this afternoon. How's it going?
Really well. Thanks for having me, guys. It's always a pleasure.
You bet. So I'm sure you're thinking to yourself as we ask you to be on this afternoon, like, I've been talking about this stuff all week, and now I'm going to talk about it even more on a Friday afternoon. But it's true, right? I mean, this is that time of year, as I mentioned earlier this week when we were talking to Rodney Boyd about some of these same issues. There's nothing that creates response like a deadline, and that deadline is coming. We've only got a few weeks left in the session, so it's rubber meets the road time. What's the latest and greatest as far as what you guys are working on there in the Capitol?
Well, I'm really excited because this week, particularly for me, was a long time coming. I'm really proud of the Republican caucus, and especially in the House, for getting so many priorities already passed and sent over to the Senate. But one of the biggest ones this week was the transgender surgery and therapy bill. This was House Bill 419. Now, as you guys already know, as a freshman legislator with another freshman, Representative Boyd and Representative Hudson, we filed these bills at the very beginning of session in the hopes, and some would call it even a fool's hope, that we would be able to push this forward and get the word out on this issue. We talked to these kids and we talked to some of their families, and some of us have personal experience with what's going on. And we just felt deep inside, we were like, this is something we have to address. We have to address this. We have to get the word out because so many people don't know what exactly this phenomena is and the harm that it does to minors. So thankfully, this week we finally debated and passed the transgender surgery and therapy bills in the House. So now the bill has been passed in the Senate. Senate's version has been passed. The House's version has been passed. And some version of combination of those two will be going to the governor's desk this year.
So to try to make it as understandable as possible and unfairly in a quick amount of time, because there are so many details that go into this, this particular issue would be the situation of the parents would have to be involved in any decision that was made about a medical procedure. It can't just be down to the kid and the doctor. Am I correct about that, about the basics of this, of what this bill's about?
Yeah, let me lay this out for you very quickly.
Please do.
These bills, the legislation focuses on children. So these are minors under 18 years of age. What we have decided in the state of Missouri is that kids that are experiencing gender dysphoria, which is a diagnosable mental illness, this is an actual diagnosis, and they will not be treated with sterilization, castration, or surgical mutilation in the state of Missouri. That's what we have decided. And we don't believe, as a body, that it's appropriate to treat mentally ill kids with sterilization or surgical mutilation or castration. And that's exactly what I said on the House floor. I said, those are things that are done to sex offenders in this country. If you didn't know this, the chemicals that are used, these puberty blocking hormones or these cross-sex hormones to sterilize people and even castrate people for what they call bottom surgery, that's what we in this country, the justice system, does to some sex offenders. And I don't believe that that's appropriate for children, because we have what is called informed consent in this country. And that means before you're the age of 18, you're not going to make life-altering decisions like sterilizing yourself. And this has been the practice for our country for 200 years, and frankly, in Western civilization. And we just now have this phenomena of just deciding that we're going to let kids sterilize themselves. And in the state of Missouri and states all across this country, we have said no. That's
Justin,
not going to be available to you until you're 18.
Justin, when you guys talk about these things in the Capitol, there are a lot of issues happening with literature being in elementary and middle schools right now. There are a lot of books that are very, very explicit, that are very detailed, that are now being in the hands of our children, that are being promoted by staff, sometimes promoted by teachers. I'm wondering if you can explain the discussions that are happening at our state capitol right now surrounding this literature, some of these books, some of these questions, homework assignments that are being sent home to kids, and if there's discussions happening on Capitol Hill about what to do about this.
Great question, and we do. We are sensitive to it, and we're working on legislation right now. How can we address this? That's why you saw the defunding of the libraries, by the way. that whole controversy was because of sexually explicit material that we passed legislation last year that prohibits that from accessibility to children in libraries. And the libraries decided, no, we want this sexually explicit material available to kids, so we're going to sue the legislature. And what we decided was, well, we're not going to fund that effort. We're not going to fund the libraries' effort to sue the legislature to keep sexually explicit material off the shelves. That's the battle we're having, guys. This is the cultural battle that has to be fought now. We have to decide. Parents should be able to know with full transparency what their children are exposed to in the schools that are funded by our tax dollars.
So, as parents around the area are listening to this conversation, I'm sure many of them are in full agreement with you, as I am, that getting back to the bill, that those medical procedures not being available, period, full stop, to minors is a good thing. You had mentioned that the House bill has passed in this issue, and the Senate bill has passed in this issue. Are there any differences between those two? And if so, is there going to be does that slow the process down or create a problem of maybe not getting this to the governor's desk, in your opinion?
Very good question, Tony. The answer is yes, there is a difference. That's why we took up the debate in the House and passed a clean bill with no compromises. The Senate bill is a good bill, but it does have a couple compromises. One is there's a grandfather clause that allows kids that are on the medication, the puberty-blocking hormones and the cross-sex hormones that sterilize them, to remain on those if they so choose. Our bill does not do that. Our bill, the House bill, gives them 6 months to wean themselves off so they won't suffer negative consequences. That's one main difference. And the other main difference is a sunset clause. The Senate bill would sunset after 4 years, which means we as a legislature would have to go back and reauthorize it after 4 years. The House bill does not do that. The House bill is permanent. I will let you know, though, that the Senate bill, even though it has the sunset clause in it, liability and cause of action, which means if you're harmed or sterilized from these procedures and you detransition, you can sue those doctors, and that's permanent. That does not sunset after 4 years. So these doctors can be sued and lose their medical license even after the 4 years. That's permanent.
So do you see these differences creating a problem, or do you feel optimistic and positive that this bill in some form will get to the governor's desk before the session's over?
This bill in some form will go to the governor's desk. This will happen, and thank God for it. And just so you know, I am so proud of the folks that worked on this. And just to give you a little window of the garbage that goes on in Jefferson City, we were threatened. We were, and look, I'm not crying here. This comes with the job. This comes with the territory. If it was easy, everyone would do it, honestly. But when there was an actual coordinated plan to target myself specifically, I was given this information by staff in the House that Democrats were going to try to attack me, try to have an activist isolate me, and try to get me to physically confront them. Now, this is real, guys.
Wow.
Like this happens. And then they decided, well, maybe we can get them in the hall and spit in their face and try to elicit a reaction that we can get on social media, and we can cause a protest similar to what happened in Tennessee. Those were the exact words told to us by staff, by people that are in charge of our security at the Capitol. And you know what? We had to have a discussion, myself and the other bill handlers. And you know what we said? Because Representative Hudson is a pastor. And you know what? We looked at each other and we said, you know what? If they're going to spit on our face, we're going to let them spit on our face. Honestly, you know, that's why we're here. That's why it's so important. We believe this is so critical. And to try to do what we can to help some kids that are actually suffering, very much so. And you know what? You want to spit in our face? That comes with the job.
Wow. That is, you know what? In days past and years past, you would think that type of stuff is just, you know, made up controversy or looking to, you know, like looking for, you know, some kind of sensational story to tell. But in today's day and age, we've seen proof that there are certainly those types of those types of plans put in place and those types of actions being taken. So, unfortunately, it's not a surprise, and good for you for continuing to fight through it and to not take the bait. So, obviously, that issue, that situation, that bill is not complete yet. So I'm sure you guys will be talking about that this week and hopefully finishing off the progress in that area. What else do you expect to tackle in the next week or so? What's the next sort of level of importance or progression for you guys?
Sure. Well, our priorities have been crime reduction. We've talked a lot about what the bills that have affected the prosecutor in the city of St. Louis and the control of the police department. We have sent all of these things, initiative petitions to try to reform the way that our Constitution is amended in the state of Missouri. All these things have already been passed in the House, and they've been sent over to the Senate. And, trying to work with the Senate, I respect their process, and I respect what they're doing. But frankly, in the state of Missouri, the reason things don't get done that the constituents and our people want done is because of the other side of the House, the other side of the building, and it's called the Senate. And that's, frankly, where we have the problems that we're having right now.
It's Nick. You can just say it. It's Nick Schroer. It's Senator.
Mm-hmm.
It's Senator Schroer.
No, I will not say that because that is not true. Nick is fighting the battle like you wouldn't believe. He's doing great work.
I'm sorry.
That's funny.
Continue. So what are those like? Okay, so specifically when it comes to crime, we've talked a lot here with you, and we've talked a lot in on this show about the situation with Kimberly Gardner, and of course this bill that would allow the governor a chance to appoint a special prosecutor in St. Louis and across the state. But we all know that the motivation behind that bill has to do with the city of St. Louis and Kimberly Gardner, and then of course the control of the St. Louis City Police Department. Whether that it's a state control or things change with the way that is currently being done. What about those two bills specifically? Do you feel like those are going to be something discussed and addressed before this session is over?
So they were heard in the Senate. They were brought up and debated. And I will say this has everything to do with the leadership in the Senate. God willing, this will be taken up, passed, as we did in the House, and sent to the governor's desk at the end of the session. I can only tell you, as a former law enforcement officer, as personal experience with that office and in the city of St. Louis, this is vital. This is vital for our region. This is vital for our state. We have to recognize St. Louis is a failed city, frankly, and the perception of the city of St. Louis is harming the entire region. It's harming our state, and frankly, people are being victimized every single day. It has to stop. And when other people on the other side want to throw around terms like racist, right, then we have to have courageous conversations, and we have to do the right thing, and we have to call that out, frankly. And we have to say, you know what? No, we're not going down that road. Mm-hmm. We're going to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And doing the right thing in this case is passing these bills and intervening for true justice in the city of St. Louis. And that's something they haven't seen in a long time.
We are talking to Missouri State Representative Justin Sparks, and I wanted to, before we ran out of time, ask you about a national issue because I wanted to get your thoughts as a law enforcement officer. So Justin, like I said, been on the show many times, and for people that aren't aware of this, Justin was a police officer for his career until moving into politics and becoming a state rep this year. So I was going to ask you from that standpoint, from the law enforcement perspective, about the situation with the leaker, the Pentagon leaks situation, and how serious it is. And I think that even without the details, getting into the minutia of the story, that's not my intent. But now that we've seen the video of how this person was arrested with 7 armed soldiers, one of them pointing a machine gun at him, and doing the whole like keep your hands up and walk backwards towards the sound of my voice. An arrest is not made in that fashion unless we're dealing with something of extreme importance. Am I correct? You would know better than I would as a law enforcement officer.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So you're actually delving into a couple different issues that are going on in our country right now. One is, how in the world did National Guardsmen of like that guy, young man, get to the level of exposure of our national secrets? Okay, that's extreme incompetence right there. But that shouldn't surprise anybody when we witness what happened in Afghanistan. Frankly, our government's ran by incompetent people right now. Okay, it is what it is. Have to start calling truth, and that's truth. That's one aspect. The other aspect is a dual justice system, a system of justice that is not applied equally in this country. We know this. Abortion clinics have been firebombed, set on fire, and terrorized, and we have no prosecution of these people. And yet, if you're protesting outside an abortion clinic, then you're arrested and dealt with a SWAT team. We've seen that in this country. Okay, so that's why you're looking at this, and you're seeing this man taken into custody by a SWAT team, and it seems very significant because it is. The problem is that same level of application of justice is not happening blindly and across the board. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. And to kind of tie it all together here, another thing that I think we've talked about with you, we've certainly talked about on this show, is I feel like we are headed eventually to a showdown in this country between the federal government and individual states, and states like Missouri, standing up for their states' rights in the way that this country was supposed to be set up, that states' rights mean a big deal, and we have the freedom to govern our states and our local areas the way that we want to without federal intervention or federal overreach. And I feel like we're going down that road. How much of that is in the back of your mind as somebody who is a lawmaker in the state of Missouri about preparing for that showdown and protecting, whenever it does get here, protecting Missouri's states' rights?
Yeah, that's not in the back of my mind. It's in the front of my mind. It's one of the biggest reasons why I ran. And it's the future. The future is not in Washington, D.C. about the direction of this country. The future is in Jefferson City. It really is, guys. There's a reason that the founders put the power in the state's hands, not in the federal government, because they already knew what the tyranny of a federal government could look like. That's the whole reason that our system and our Constitution was framed the way it is. And what we have is you're seeing that now. And Tony, to your point, it is so dangerous when Americans, when citizens do not think that they can get justice or that they will be treated equally under the law, they go and get justice for themselves. And that is a very dangerous thing. It really is. Jason Whitlock talked last week about a national divorce. We are headed to a place where different states and cities will have a different standard of living and a different application of justice in this country. We are already seeing it. And it's probably the most significant threat that we're facing because our system is breaking down. And a house that is divided against itself cannot stand. We as a people, we have to decide, what is the future that we want? What is the future? What is the republic going to look like that we're going to pass down to our kids? A republic, if we can keep it.
Well, the one good thing that I think we've seen over the last couple of years is more and more people are engaged in the process, and look no further than what's happened in our schools and parental engagement when the issue gets serious enough and people realize that the future is at stake. Hopefully that's enough to get people involved and get people in the fight and make sure that we protect ourselves from all of those things. Justin Sparks, Missouri State Representative, thank you as always for your time. I'm sure we'll talk to you again very, very soon. In the meantime, if people want to follow you and what you're working on and everything surrounding the end of the 2023 Missouri legislative session, where are the best places to go?
Sure. Justin Sparks, State Representative, Facebook, Instagram, sparksformissouri.com. And thank you guys. God bless.
You bet, Justin. Thanks so much for your time. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a great weekend. And speaking of a great weekend, it's another beautiful day out there, but will it last? It doesn't matter that it's been a beautiful week if the weekend isn't going to be nice. I don't care that it's been blue skies and beautiful days all week long.
It's never enough for you, is it?
If
Tony?
it's not going to be that way on Saturday and Sunday, because that's all that matters. So I honestly don't know. I have not had a chance to look at the forecast. So
I don't know either.
I am. My whole life is in the hands of Steve Templeton at this moment.
It's true.
Steve Templeton, chief meteorologist over at Channel 4, is going to join us here momentarily to bring us that all-important weekend forecast. So that's up in just a moment, and you're listening to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
The struggle is hard, but it can't.
You're listening to Colombo and Katie. Follow Tony Colombo on Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk.
A single mom working 2 jobs to feed her family.
The news and talk that affects St. Louis.
The Biden administration should ignore this ruling.
Where House Republicans on the appropriation side have to defund FDA programs that don't make sense.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
So the guys at Gutter Pros were at my house today. I am so happy, relieved, thrilled that we are finally getting this issue addressed. I have talked about before that when we bought our new house, we knew going in, we identified the gutters as being an issue. And, whenever you have one of those issues at your house, these projects, that you can't fix yourself. You gotta call for help, and you don't have anybody that in that area. It can really weigh on your chest, and it can create some anxiety until you find the right team that and trust are going to do a great job for a great price and take care of you. And that is exactly what the team at the Gutter Pros is all about. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team. They bring years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We have absolutely loved working with Dave Sylvester and his team at Gutter Pros. They have been just absolutely the best. Whether it be leaf protection, gutter repair, or new gutter installation, they have you covered in all of these areas, and they offer free estimates. So if you do have a gutter problem that you are worried about, call Gutter Pros, have them come out, take a look, tell you what's going on, tell you what it's going to take to fix it, and then you have that information, and it's all at no cost to you. And at least then you have those details and you don't have that anxiety and that wonder and that confusion about exactly what's going on and what it's going to take to fix it. Take advantage of the free estimates from Gutter Pros. With Gutter Pros, water goes where we tell it, and you can call them now at 314-656-7195 or just visit them at gutterpros.com. That's gutterpros.com.
School choice is an idea whose time has come. It's flourishing in many states, just not in Missouri. Take charter schools, a great alternative for parents whose kids may be trapped in a failing school district. But charter schools are currently only available to families in just 3 of 520 school districts: Kansas City, the city of St. Louis, and Normandy. Open enrollment allows students to enroll in a district other than the one in which they live. It's important because rural schools may not offer all the advanced classes larger districts do. Open enrollment does exist in Missouri, but participation is highly restricted. And the Empowerment Scholarship Account, or ESA program, needs to be expanded so many more parents of students with disabilities and low-income students can access it. Charter schools, open enrollment, ESAs. If they're good for some children, they should be good for all children. Check out our 2023 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward, at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years, featuring exclusive products, unbeatable prices, and expert installation. You can choose from a wide variety of flooring options, including carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, plus many other options. And you'll gain a peace of mind knowing that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in-store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home online. Check out everything Michael's Flooring has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Steve Templeton's Weekend Forecast, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com.
Well, Jeff Allen came in here and just ruined my life with his apparently his version of the forecast.
Oh my God!
Of what to expect? As I mentioned, I have I honestly haven't looked at the weekend forecast yet. I know that it's been absolutely beautiful, and I'm waiting to hear what Steve Templeton is going to tell us about the weekend. And then Jeff Allen opens the door and is like, "It's going to be cold and rainy." And I'm, "What? No! What? No!"
I thought
Not
you were
after
going to
this
say
week.
Jeff Allen came in and ruined my life, and I said, "Why?" And I thought you were going to say because of his appearance. And I was going to be like, because you started to say because of the, and I'm like, wait now,
because of the shirt he's wearing.
Hold on, I am not a part of this.
All right, so let's get to it because
Come
it's
on.
important. Steve Templeton, chief meteorologist over at Channel 4, joins us as he does every week at this time. Steve, thanks as always for being with us. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. I feel like, the past, 4 or 5 Fridays I've come on with you, I've said, hey, we got great weather for the weekend, and
you have.
I feel like this is payback.
Oh, no.
It's been so great.
It has been beautiful.
It's been so nice.
Seriously.
It's been so nice.
All right, well, let's just tear the, rip the Band-Aid. Let's hear how bad it's going to be.
Yeah, you got to hear this.
Yeah.
By the way, Jeff was right about Sunday. It's going to be cold and a 30% chance of showers. That's the cold day. Saturday is still warm. I've got 80 for the high.
Okay.
I wish I could just stop right there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there's more for Saturday. It's the first alert weather day because there's 2 rounds of storms that you need to know about. One in the late afternoon, evening could be severe too. In the morning Saturday, especially between like 9 and 11 a.m., could have a few isolated storms that produce some small hail. Some of the forecasts linger those a little longer around noon, 1 o'clock. If that happens, maybe there's a delay in the Cardinals game, but I'm leaning towards more mid to late morning. They move out of here. We play the game. It's 80. It's breezy. It's a nice afternoon. So that's that first round, maybe some small hail in the morning, 80 in the afternoon, breezy. And then the evening especially is when we want to watch for some strong to severe storms. I'm thinking somewhere in the 7 to 9 p.m. time frame in St. Louis, a line of storms is going to come through. The potential's there for damaging wind and hail. Those are the main threats. Can't rule out an isolated tornado, but unlike previous severe bouts we've had to go through where there was a significant tornado threat, this is a lower tornado threat, but still there. We just have to watch it. I think a bigger threat for damaging wind and then hail. And again, that's Saturday evening. What's causing this is a cold front, and that's why we have huge changes for Sunday. Sunday, 51 for the high. That likely falls into the 40s in the afternoon, and a 30% chance for showers, wind gusts to 35. So you're talking chilly, windy, and maybe a few showers on Sunday. I mean, big changes. I did have someone ask me, though, hey, can I cut my grass? And I said, you know what? You can. There's some time on Saturday in that afternoon when the morning isolated storms move out and before the line hits in the evening. It's 80, it's breezy, and it's warm. So, there's some salvageable time here in the afternoon on Saturday.
Salvageable time.
I know. I've tried to end with the
Darn.
Yeah, that's not. Excuse me, waiter. I don't like this forecast. I'd like to send it back, please.
Send it back.
Has this weather that we have gotten this week, have we been uncharacteristically lucky with these days, or can we expect that we're kind of in that time of year now where we are going to see some nice weather? Obviously, not every single day, as this weekend is proving. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but are we there that we can kind of this is not necessarily a strange event when we have these beautiful days?
I think it's been unusually warm, and the length of dry time in April, which is one of our rainiest months, has been unusual. Usually it's like every few days you're talking about storms or rain. So I think the temperatures being unusually warm when normals are in the upper 60s, we've been hitting low 80s. And the length, the several days in a row of dry weather and nice warm weather, that has been unusual. But in general, that normal temperature is creeping up to the 70s. And next week I've got mid 70s. So we're getting to that time of the year where, if I say chilly, like Sunday's really unusual, that's really cold. But if I say, hey, it's going to be a cooler than normal day, you're talking about, mid to low 60s. So I think we're getting to that time of year where you can expect it to feel kind of nice and not too bad. But the 80s and several days in a row, yeah, that's a little unusual for this time of year.
I literally, I don't know if you were listening right before this segment, because I mentioned it, literally just had gutter pros. They might still be there.
Oh,
They're putting my
man.
new gutters on today.
Oh, my gosh, Tony.
And we're just going to put them directly to the test.
Yeah. See what happens.
Like
Trial
trial
by
by fire.
Oh.
But thank
Exactly.
goodness I had them out today. And we
Yeah.
got this done before another big rainstorm because there's been a lot of leaky water coming out of
sure.
places not supposed to be coming out of those gutters until today. So we don't have to deal with that again. Well, you know what? At least we're prepared. At least we now know if you're going to try to target anything, make it for between sort of the two storms on Saturday, tomorrow afternoon, right, Steve? I mean, that's going to be kind of your best shot at it this weekend.
And especially heads up on anything that comes in the evening, that could be severe. So make sure you have the KMOV weather app. You're paying attention, especially any folks going to the St. Louis City SC game. That could be disrupted by some storms as well. So that's really the period where we get the strongest storm Saturday evening.
All right. Well, thank you as always
Thank
for
you.
keeping us up to speed and informed on the weather that's heading our way. And I expect a much better weekend forecast next week, Steve.
I was just going to say, I hope to have better news next Friday, guys. I'll talk to you then.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
Thank you so much, Steve. Talk to you
Take
soon.
care.
That is Steve Templeton, Chief Meteorologist
That
over
stinks.
at Channel 4. Yeah, that's not what I was looking for when I'm trying to go fishing this weekend, but I'm going to find a way to make it happen. All right, we've got some Friday fun time coming up. Also, Joe Biden may be regulating AI. The only thing worse than AI is government-controlled AI. We'll talk about it in just a moment on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, Pocket Watchers. By now, I know you heard that the IRS is hiring 87,000 more agents. What does that mean? More collections, more audits. If you have a tax problem, unfiled tax returns, a large tax bill that you can't handle, give my office a call, 314-776-9076. I have years of experience of representing clients before the IRS to resolve tax problems. So stop hiding. Sticking your head in the sand is not going to make this go away. Give my office a call, 314-776-9076. Thornton Advisor Group is here to help you. Set up your free consultation to get an understanding of what's going on with your IRS case. Stop ignoring those letters. Give my office a call, 314-776-9076, or visit us online at thorntonadvisor.com.
Talk radio made in St. Louis.
Very excited for what you guys are doing for the St. Louis community.
For St. Louis. Relevant local talk.
Saying what we are thinking.
This is News Talk STL.
No, you guys are awesome. I love you. And it's a tremendous honor to be on the station.
News, analysis, and opinion.
Thanks for covering the local angle.
Come on, people. This is America.
We better open our eyes.
Really local, really good.
News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
What is at stake when it comes to the fight over what public education is going to look like in any community in the U.S.?
Is your child going to school and seeing all this and reading all these books in the library and then being encouraged, you know what, I want to start identifying as the opposite sex, but I'm only going to do it at school because that's going to put me in the in crowd that has this new quote-unquote civil right.
Weekday mornings, 5:30 to 9 on News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Florida Senator Rick Scott says were he still governor, he would sign into law a new bill that bans abortions after 6 weeks. Bob Agnew with that report.
Scott made his remarks after an online post suggested he would refuse to sign the restrictive measure were he still Florida governor. Not true, Scott replied to the tweet. Quote, I am 100% pro-life, and if I was still governor, I would sign this bill. The White House has called the bill extreme and dangerous, and Scott himself said in a recent interview he was more supportive of a 15-week ban. Governor Ron DeSantis is expected to sign the 6-week bill. Bob Agnew reporting.
Also at townhall.com, a Massachusetts Air National Guardsman has appeared in court accused in the leak of highly classified military documents. The Guardsman, 21-year-old Jack Teixeira, did not enter a plea at today's hearing in Boston and was returned to detention pending his next appearance. That comes next week. France's Constitutional Council has approved an unpopular plan It will raise the retirement age from 62 to 64. Correspondent Shelley Adler with the update in this report.
The protests ramped up after the announcement of the decision to raise the retirement age by 2 years. The Constitutional Council rejected some other measures in the pension bill, but the higher age was central to President Emmanuel Macron's plan, and that's been the target of protesters' anger. Macron can enact the bill within 15 days. The win for the French president comes after 3 months of mass protests over the legislation that has damaged his leadership. I'm Shelley Adler.
And a lower close on Wall Street. The Dow off 137 points, the Nasdaq down 42. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Dennis Prager here. Sue and I mean it when we say dogs are part of our family. We love Otto and Snoopy so much, and there's nothing like their loyal companionship. So we provide them with Rough Greens, R-U-F-F, because we want them to feel healthy and be with us as long as possible. I know Charlie Kirk feels the same way.
The Pragers and I couldn't agree more. I rely on my trusted furry friend, Mr. Briggs, who's an absolute machine, and he relies on me to provide what's best for him. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black has packed Rough Greens, not a dog food, but a supplement full of vitamins, minerals, digestive enzymes, and omega oils that Mr. Briggs absolutely needs and loves. Trying Rough Greens for your dog just makes sense.
Greetings, Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here. I'm honored that the Pragers and Charlie trust their dog's health to Rough Green. I'm so confident that Rough Green can help your dog too that I'm offering you a free Jumpstart trial bag. Just cover the shipping. Yes, dog food is dead food, but it doesn't have to be. Go to ruffgreens.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Saturday is a first alert weather day. The threat for some severe storms in the evening. We'll start off at 59 in the morning. A few isolated storms could produce some small hail in the mid to late morning Saturday. Then warm and breezy, 80 for the high. But again, watch for some strong to severe storms Saturday evening. The cold front is going to make it much cooler on Sunday. 51 for the high, falling into the 40s in the afternoon. Gusts to 35, so it's chilly, it's windy, and even a 30% chance for a few showers on Sunday. That's the latest first alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Stories of New Americans.
Hi, this is Ron Clutho. Join me this weekend for Stories of New Americans, where you'll hear fascinating and inspirational personal stories of people from all over the globe who now call St. Louis home. We'll take a look at the U.S. through newcomers' eyes and get insight into world history and culture, and maybe just learn a little bit more about ourselves.
Stories of New Americans with Ron Clutho. Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
Celebration time for you and for me. Celebration time, we're in harmony. Celebration time for you and for me. Celebration time, we're in harmony.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. It's Perry Woods Friday. Remember to support local music. You can download Perry's music anywhere that, basically any music platform, downloading platform. Just search Perry Woods or the Woods Experience, and make sure you are supporting Perry and other local artists and support our great local music scene. All right, we're going to get into a little bit of Friday fun time to wrap up the show here in a few minutes before we hand things off to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. First, interesting story out today. Joe Biden may regulate AI for disinformation or discriminatory outcomes. The Biden administration is pursuing regulations for artificial intelligence systems that would require government audits to ensure they produce trustworthy outputs, which could include assessments of whether AI is promoting misinformation and disinformation. Alan Davidson is the Assistant Secretary of Communications and Information at the Commerce Department, and he said, quote, much as financial audits create trust in let's start this over again. He says, quote, much as financial audits create trust in the accuracy of financial statements, accountability mechanisms for AI can help assure that an AI system is trustworthy. Davidson said audits would help regulators assess whether AI systems perform as advertised and respect privacy, and whether they lead to discriminatory outcomes or reflect unacceptable levels of bias. Audits may also be used to determine whether AI systems, quote, promote misinformation, disinformation, or other misleading content. The goal of policing disinformation created by AI is likely to present both technical and political challenges, as we have been arguing for years on exactly the definitions of misinformation and disinformation, and to try to tell AI what is the answer in those areas sounds even more difficult. As I mentioned going into the break, we've been told about how scary and the potential dangers AI, our investment in AI and the path that we're going down with AI in this country, and all the challenges and dangers and risks that proposes. The only thing more dangerous than that, to me, than regular old AI, is government-controlled AI.
For sure. And this whole thing seems ridiculous to me, to be like, we're allowing AI to control this aspect because it's objective. It's objective.
Right.
But now we don't know if it's objective, so we're going to run a bunch of tests to make sure that it's not biased and it's
objective. But how
objective.
can it not be? How does AI have a bias?
Right, but the whole point. How does AI have a bias?
If you tell it that what it's doing is creating misinformation and it has a bias, then you're introducing bias to.
And then what's the point?
Right.
Then if we're trying to get to the truth and the bottom of things objectively, and we're creating AI to get there, but you don't have trust that it's getting there, then why are we doing? It's like having an abundance of insurance. Sometimes you just don't need. I mean, you do need insurance, but sometimes the middleman can be a little bit more chaotic than you think it's going to be. And introducing AI to this equation, it's like, this just seems like an unnecessary problem.
Yeah. Like, hey, we fed this problem into the AI system, and it came up with a solution, but its solution is
misinformation.
It's discriminatory.
Yeah.
So we told it to do it again.
Like, why do we even have it then?
Exactly.
Why do we have it?
So
dumb.
This idea. I mean, you would, and you know what? Very seriously, we talk about government overreach and how the Biden administration is trying to control, and there are aspects of our government, people in it that are trying to control literally everything. I mean, the Biden administration is putting together a plan to control AI, to run government audits on AI. I mean, think about that for a second. It is endless. They want control of literally everything in every aspect of your life, and that is exactly how this country is not supposed to be set up.
Some people love it, though.
It is not supposed to be ran. It is not supposed to be ran by the State Department.
Some people
We have
love it.
freedom in this country, and for a very good reason. I would like to hear your story.
President Biden's Justice Department is recommending no jail time for an abortion activist who scribbled F Catholics on a church wall. This happened in Missouri. This happened in St. Louis. Assaulted a church employee and defaced several religious statues in reaction to the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade last summer. The Justice Department put forward a plea agreement reviewed by Fox News Digital that calls for 3 years probation and no jail time for, this is unfortunate, Maeve Noda. I'm like, why'd you have to do that name to Maeve? Why'd you got to do it? Maeve is a very holy...
We've never had a Maeve in the news ever.
And now
all of a sudden...
Don't you dare. Who was arrested on June 28th for vandalizing the St. Louis Catholic Church in Bellevue, Washington. Maeve, a transgender man, was charged with a hate crime and assault for vandalizing the church, tossing rocks, and at spray painting an employee of the church. So basically assaulted a church member, defaced these religious statues, painted graffiti saying F Catholics, and they get off on probation. The graffiti painted on church walls and artifacts was anti-Catholic. A hate crime includes acts that defaces religious real property with words, symbols, or items that are derogatory to a persons of faith associated with the property. So that is actually what is that is included in what a hate crime is described as. And that is verbatim what happened. And yet it isn't counted as a hate crime. And this person, this transgender man, Maeve, is now off and it's totally fine.
How would you, I mean, the destruction of property and all of that, I mean, that already shouldn't even matter. The motivation behind it shouldn't even matter. If you have destroyed property, there should be consequences. But physical assault? I mean, again, what are we even? How is this even a question? How do you put any defense or any recommendation of no, regardless of the issue that it stands in, that it's a part of? Physical assault. There's a consequence. There's not. You don't just get to take that away.
Do you think I've heard Josh Hawley talk about this now, and he was asking Merrick Garland this question? But Tony, do you think that there is actually like a movement that is anti-Christian, anti-Catholic, whatever the case may be, that is happening right now, where people are targeting pro-life Christian areas, specifically, and then getting away with targeting these places?
Yeah. I think there's definitely been a mindset put forward over the last few years that Christianity is bad and that it creates problems and it just gets in the way, and your old dangerous beliefs are a problem. I think that there are people that believe that and have been advancing that very publicly for the last couple of years.
Golly.
That there is a I don't know if it's an attack, but it's certainly a push to minimize or eliminate religious influence or
we just had
thought.
A shooting at a private Christian school in Nashville, and we still don't know the details about that, if that was religiously charged.
Well,
we still don't know.
I wasn't even going to read this story, but I'm glad you brought this up because it goes right along with the conversation. Walter Reed has the hospital, the famous hospital for military veterans and soldier and current soldiers, has issued a cease and desist order for Catholic priests, and these priests are fighting back, saying that it violates their First Amendment rights. 24 Republican lawmakers are demanding answers from the Pentagon after Walter Reed National Military Medical Center sent a cease and desist letter to Catholic priests to stop providing care during Holy Week, slamming the move as a violation of the First Amendment. 24 Republican members of Congress penned a letter to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. In the letter, the lawmakers blast the Biden administration's attack on the Christian faith, to your point. This was all happening right around Easter. This has been going on all this week and last week. Walter Reed National Military Medical Center sent a cease and desist letter to the Holy Name College Friary, a group of Catholic priests, ordering them to stop providing pastoral care at the hospital. The letter reads, the same group of priests have served at Walter Reed for almost 20 years, and this order came days before Easter. Quote, forcing priests to stop providing care during Holy Week is not only morally wrong, but it's also a violation of the First Amendment. The lawmakers also claim that the Archdiocese of the Military informed them that the contract for providing pastoral care was awarded to a for-profit secular company, but that company doesn't provide pastoral care. So basically, to sum that up, Walter Reed is saying that they signed a exclusive contract with some care provider that pastoral care would fall under. But this company doesn't offer pastoral care. So these people that want to have priests come to the hospital and speak to the patients that want it and the families that want it, they're being told, oh, we can't use them anymore because we have a contract with this other group. Okay, well, who's that group? Where's the pastoral care for that? Oh, they don't provide it. So you're breaking the rules, but there is no way to replace it.
What?
So, yeah. So at Walter Reed right now, Catholic priests are not being allowed to come in and provide pastoral care to these soldiers. It's ridiculous. So if you don't think that there's something going on with an attack on or, an attempt to diminish Christian beliefs and Christian thoughts, here's another piece of evidence that is exactly what's happening.
And the same people that are fighting so hard to diminish those religious beliefs and to just diminish religion and faith wholeheartedly are the same people that are advocating, like, let everyone live their most authentic lives and be who they want to be. And if they want to do this, then let them do this. It's the age-old hypocrisy that we're living in. But the problem is, there is a group of people being allowed and actually applauded for going after churches and pregnancy centers and schools, saying that we need to protect that community and we need to, not applaud them, but they should be allowed to express themselves the way that they see fit. Meanwhile, if you want to pray or do anything religious, as you just pointed out, you're almost kind of neglected and demonized.
Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with this this Family Feud killer in Quincy, Illinois? It's not only is it a story that's getting national attention, but it's fairly local. Like Quincy, Illinois is where it all is happening. Are you?
I don't even know where to begin.
Familiar with this story at all?
Okay,
so there is a guy who's from Quincy, Illinois, that is being accused of shooting his estranged wife, and he was on Family Feud a couple of years ago.
What?
And it was a big deal in Quincy. They had they had watch parties, and his family's very popular up there. And it was, there's all these like clips of the watch party, and it was like, it was this fun, wholesome family in Quincy, and that everybody loves, and they run on Family Feud, and it was this wonderful time. And now, fast forward 2 years later, one of the members of that family is being accused of shooting his estranged wife, and there's the whole story. I mean, it's way too much to unpack, but it's just wild that it's happening. And there was a moment on the show on Family Feud when this family was on, where the question to the family was, what's the biggest mistake that you made at your wedding? What's the biggest mistake you made at your wedding? And, you can see that in typical Family Feud style. Somebody says something. And the guy who is now accused of killing his wife said during that, again, it's Family Feud, so it's very fun. It's very tongue-in-cheek, and, it's not like, but he said, saying I do was his biggest mistake.
Oh my gosh.
But he said, no, that's just what I think the answer is going to be. Not that I, blah, 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 blah. But still, it's still, ironic and crazy and ridiculous that this is a national story and this family was on Family Feud, and he made a comment about saying I do was the biggest mistake.
He looked so different in this Family Feud episode compared to now.
That's his mugshot. What you're seeing is his mugshot.
That mugshot. I'm like, is that even a person?
He's got short hair, and he's all cleaned up on Family Feud, and then his mugshot, he's got long hair.
Scraggly.
Yeah. But anyway, it's just one of these, I've talked about, true crime is my guilty pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
I love true crime podcasts and true crime stories, and getting into the weeds of crazy things and stories that have happened in our recent history and our long past history when it comes to this kind of stuff. And this has become one of the most popular, most famous investigations happening right now. Well, it's not proved that he did kill her.
Okay.
He says he didn't. He says he didn't.
But man, the
but
hair
this
and
investigation is going
the
on.
mugshot
This
says
investigation
differently.
is like I said, it's one of the most. It's getting some of the most attention of any case in the United States right now, and it's got this weird Family Feud connection, and it's got a fairly, a kind of a local connection. So it's been something that I've been keeping a close eye on. It's an absolutely wild story.
Wow.
Let's see. Switch into a little Friday fun time here. Let's get away from the wife killers and ridiculousness of the week and have a little bit of fun and talk about weird food combinations. Here's a couple new things that now exist. Do you like Doritos?
Yes.
Do you like beef jerky?
Yes.
Would you like Dorito flavored beef jerky?
This is a nursery rhyme that Maeve listens to. It's like, do you like soup? Do you like ice cream? Do you like soup that's ice cream?
Frito-Lay.
And the answer is no.
Frito-Lay has partnered with Jack Link's beef jerky for a new kind of product, beef
both
jerky,
salty.
that is supposed to taste like the spicy, sweet chili Doritos. What? Why would you? If you're gonna make anything based off of Doritos, make it off the real Doritos.
Oh, the
Regular
beef
old-
jerky's tasting like Dorito.
The beef jerky tastes like Doritos, but it tastes like the spicy, sweet chili Doritos.
Yum. That sounds freaking awesome.
Really?
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Beef jerky that tastes like spicy, sweet chili
oh
Doritos?
Oh my God, yeah, my mouth is watering. Yes. That sounds so
I don't
good.
even know I've never even had spicy, sweet chili Doritos.
Oh, they're the bomb.
No, red bag Doritos. Red bag Doritos.
No, you have to
Not
try the
blue
spicy
bag,
sweet.
Not the other bag.
No, this is the purple
Red
bag.
No, not the
This is
purple
so
bag.
good.
No.
Come on, Tony.
No.
And it's hot too. There's like
Red bag Doritos. That's what Doritos are. Doritos are the red bag.
you can't sit here and say
Not the
you
purple
haven't had the
bag.
Cool Ranch
Not the
Doritos.
I hate Cool Ranch Doritos.
You aren't a human.
Gross.
Yeah.
The blue bag.
No.
The blue bag of Doritos is gross.
That's not true.
Gross.
That is you.
Gross.
How do you determine that?
If like we're going on a trip or something and we buy like one of those like combo packs where you get, it's like, there's 20 little bags of Doritos or whatever in there, and there's like 5 bags of regular Doritos, and there's 5 bags of Cheetos, and there's 5 bags of Fritos,
Ranch.
and then there's 5 bags of Cool Ranch, the blue ones. A week later, everything's gone except 5 bags of Cool Ranch Doritos, and they just
No
sit
one
there
in your
until you throw 'em away.
household?
No, because they're gross.
Not a single person in your household likes the Cool Ranch
Not
Doritos.
a single
I
person
have
on earth likes Cool Ranch Doritos.
You are the minority. You are not the majority in this.
No.
You're crazy.
Doritos come in a red bag. That's it. That's it.
People back me up.
I don't
News
want
Talk STL people back me up.
I don't want chili. What was it called?
It's sweet.
If you're gonna make
it's so good.
anything based off of any Dorito, which I don't recommend. I'm just saying, if you are, at least make it after the red bag, the real Dorito.
I
Not-
really thought that you were saying that they were going to make a Dorito taste
Spicy
like beef jerky. That's where I was like, I don't like that.
No, they're making a beef jerky taste like Dorito, but they're not even doing the right Dorito.
I
Also,
can't believe the Columbus.
last one. SpaghettiOs is releasing a Frank's Red Hot version of SpaghettiOs. I love SpaghettiOs. I loved them when I was a kid.
You
and I
have
love them
got
today.
to go.
You don't like SpaghettiOs?
No,
Only
not
with
my
meatballs.
thing.
Only with gotta have the meatballs.
Now, SpaghettiOs, never a SpaghettiOs person, but I like a mini ravioli.
You make SpaghettiOs with SpaghettiOs and meatballs, and you eat the SpaghettiOs first.
And
Until you
then-
just have the meatballs, and then you eat the meatballs at the end.
I
That's
like that
That's
process.
the proper way to eat SpaghettiOs with meatballs.
That's a good process.
Eat all the SpaghettiOs first, and then you just have the meatballs at the end, and that's how you finish it off. I don't know about Frank's Red Hot being introduced to the setup there, but
I don't know about that either.
But apparently it's real. So, Frank's Red Hot SpaghettiOs and beef jerky that tastes like The purple bag Doritos.
I'm looking at for that beef jerky because that sounds freaking awesome.
That sounds freaking nasty.
God, Tony, there's
something
wrong.
If you go to any concession stand in the world or go up to anybody that's selling snacks and they have like the little bags of chips behind them, and you say to them, "I'll take a hot dog and a bag of Doritos," what do they grab?
They're going to ask you which kind of
No,
Dorito.
they're not. No, they're going to grab the red bag and hand it to you every time. Every time.
If there's multiple kinds of Doritos, they're going to ask you which one.
Nope. They're gonna grab the. It's gonna be on you to make the identification because everybody knows that red bag Doritos are the true.
They
Dorito.
are the true. They're the
They're the true
original
Dorito.
Dorito.
They're the only. Yeah.
There's no dispute. But Cool Ranch is amazing.
Nope. Gross is what Cool Ranch is.
You said nope.
What is that?
You said nope.
Nope. I'm not having it. It's the end of the week. I'm out of patience. I'm not gonna have this argument. Cool Ranch Doritos are gross. What's not gross is the Tim Jones and Chris Arp show. That is coming your way in just a moment. They will get you through the rest of your Friday afternoon. Colombo and Katie back Monday at 2 o'clock. In the meantime, make sure you're subscribed to our podcast. You can get the Colombo and Katie show on just about any podcast platform out there. That way you never miss anything that we talk about here on the show. Subscribe to the Colombo and Katie podcast. Subscribe to the Colombo and Katie YouTube channel. And keep it right here for the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. Thank you so much for listening to us and supporting us here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Celebration time for you and for me. Celebration time. We're in home.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Vic Porcelli Show. Colombo and Katie. Jones and Arps.
Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble.
Subscribe.